everybody, it's Doreen, and I'm back today. As you can see in the title, I'm going to be making a card that I'm calling a remix card. Now, yes, it is a birthday card, but you can make it whatever kind of card you want. And the reason why I'm calling it a remix card is because we're not going to be using the Cameo today. We're going to be using some Spellbinder dies. As I said before, I'm trying to start using some of the supplies that I've bought in previous years that I haven't used or I've used only once. And this card is going to be a similar layout like a card that I've made before, except I'm using a different Spellbinder die and I'm adding a few little different other things on the card. So, what will we be using to make this card? Before I show it to you, I'm going to give you or show you some of the supplies. So we're going to be using, of course, some inks, and I'm going to be using the Bordering Blue by Stampin' Up, and I'm going to be using the Baja Breeze by Stampin' Up. I'm also going to be using my Tim Holtz brushed corduroy. So along with that, for the dies, we're going to be using some Cherry Lin dies, and the first one is the Lace Corner Deco E, and that's letter B165. And then we'll also be using the Vase by Cherry Lin, and it's letter B306. Now, don't worry if you don't have these dies. If you want to use your silhouette, you can use your silhouette to cut out something similar, or you can use rubber stamps. And I'm also going to be using a stamp set that is by Stampin' Scrappin'. It's called the Design Labels Accents, and it looks like this, and sorry for the glare. So you can use whatever stamp set you want to use to make the card. And one of the other dies that we're going to be using is called the Beaded Oval die, and it looks like this. And I actually had been searching and searching to find this die in my local craft stores. I tried Michael's, I tried Hobby Lobby, and I tried Joann's, and nobody had it. But I mentioned it to Skylar, and she was able to find it for me. So thank you, Skylar, for finding the Spellbinder die and sending it to me. So that's we're going to use that. And we're also going to be using the classic oval die that's by Spellbinders. I don't have the packaging anymore, but we're going to also use that. And if you recall, it does look similar to this card that we made before. Except we are going to be using a different centerpiece. The other thing that I'm going to be using is my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. Now, I've shown how to use this before, so I'm not going to demo how to do this again, but if you go back to one of my previous videos, you'll see how to use the Stamp-A-Ma-Jig. So now that I've told you all the supplies, you're probably wondering, what does the card actually look like? So, this is the card that we will be making. So come on and join me, and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay, everybody, so let's bring up the supplies and we'll get started making our card. So now my card measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've taken it and scored it in half to make it a 4.25 by 5.5 inch card. And as I said in the beginning, we are inking our edges, or if I didn't say that, we are inking our edges, and we're going to use the brush corduroy to ink our edges for the card as well as all of our other layers. So you use whatever ink you want to use for the color of paper you have. And this is just some Recollections cardstock. So now we'll go ahead and add our next layer, and our next layer measures, okay everybody, so this piece measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. I actually had to go back and measure what I cut this as, because what I did was I just started cutting my cardstock and didn't measure anything. I just cut it till it looked the way I wanted, so I had to go back and measure it. And this piece of paper is from an old DCWV paper pack called the Spring Matte Stack. So I don't even know if you can still find this one, but you can use whatever you want to use. So I've inked the edges, and we're just going to go ahead and lay this down. I want to make sure I'm putting this on there right. So I'm going to use my ATG gun to get some tape on here, and then we'll just take this layer down. So now let's go ahead, and I'm just going to line this up as best I can, and then I'm going to press down. So there is our first layer. So then the next layer is, we're using some of the same cardstock as what the card is made out of. This measures 4 7/8 by 3 3/4, and that is going to go right there. So we'll go ahead and get our layer on, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start layering up our die and get that on. So let's go ahead and take these pieces. So now this is one of the Spellbinder dies that I showed you earlier, and then we're going to take our oval Spellbinder die and we're going to lay that layer on top of there. So we'll just go ahead and get some tape on here, and we'll lay this layer down. And looks like I've got everything falling over here. Okay, so we'll put this layer down on top of here, and I'm just going to line this up, and I did also ink the edges of this layer here with the brush corduroy. I had to think about what I did. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and add my next layer, which is the next size down of your Spellbinder die, and that's going to go here. But what we're going to do is we're going to put this one on first, and then we'll put the two of these down there. So now what I've done is, and I'm going to pop this up as a matter of fact, is I've gone ahead and stamped out Happy Birthday, and I used this stamp set, and I do apologize for this glare, and I believe this is a Stampin' Scrappin', and I purchased this at Joann online, because they don't sell this in the store. And what it does is it also matches up your Spellbinder dies as well, and it matches the labels 2, labels 4, and labels 8. So I just kind of put that in the middle using my Stamp-A-Ma-Jig, and we're gonna pop this one up. So because of that, we're gonna just go ahead and put this layer on now, because if we try to put that on there and then try to get the tape on the back, it kind of makes it hard to get it on there. So I'm going to just use my Tombow for this. And I'm also going to go ahead and take my 2-way and just dot each one of these so that I can get those to lay down flat. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And then I'm going to try to line this up so it sits in the center. And I'm a little bit off there, so we're going to pull that up just a little bit. And I'm sorry, I'm going to take this off camera because I need to put this close to me so that I can see and kind of get this even. And there we have it. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this and pop this up with some foam tape. And I want to apologize ahead of time for my voice seeming a little hoarse because I am getting over a cold, which also turned into a sinus infection. So I may sound a little froggy when I'm talking. Okay, we're going to sit that like that. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and put this on top of here. So, once again, I'm going to put some glue on each one of these first, all the way around, and it's just a little dot of glue. And then I'm going to take my Tombow and get some tape along there, trying not to get the glue on my fingers. And then I'm going to line this up and try to get this in the center there. So there we have it. And then we'll take all of this and we'll add it to our card. And I'm going to use the ATT gun for this. So I'm kind of switching back and forth. You don't have to do that. You put your tape on with whatever you have. And I'll bring our card back and I'm going to open it up. And then I'm just going to line this up on here and press down. Now I'll go ahead and add my happy birthday. And the reason I did it this way is because it's easier to get your tape on when you are working with a dimensional object. If you just put everything on first and then do the last thing that you're going to pop up, put that on last. So there we have the front of our card. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our little flower or our little vase. And I've kind of already gone ahead and put this together. And actually, before we put that on, I want to go ahead and put on my corners. So with this, I'm just going to go ahead and dot this with some glue. And I'm going to bring up a scrap sheet of paper to get my glue on for both of these. And I'm going to use my two-way zip pen, if I can find it, to get my glue on. And I'm just going to go along here and just dot this. Now, you can run this through a Xyron machine if you want, to make sure I'm putting it on the side that I want it on. Or however you want to do it, because this is very fine. So, and it would be, I probably could have used the tape gun that I got from Skylar that is supposed to go in between the holes. But I just thought of that after I put the glue on there, so we're just going to use the glue and get this in the corner of our card, like so. And actually, I put too much glue on there, and as you can see, it did rip. But I still managed to get it down. That was a brand new two-way zip pen, so the glue was coming out pretty fast there. So now let's get our other one, and we'll line it up and we'll place that one on in the corner, like so. And then just press down. So now we're ready to add our vase. And what I've done with the vase is I've gone ahead and die cutted the vase, and then I took just some strips of paper, as you can see, and put those in to act as like stems for the flowers. And then I also went ahead and stamped them, the little strips, using my Pocket Silhouettes stamp set. I use this a lot. And I also went ahead and ran my vase through my Cuttlebug folder, the swirls folder. So we're going to have that sitting right there. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to pop this up as well, or if we should lay this flat. I think I'm just going to lay this one flat. So as you can see, it was just some strips of paper. And I'm going to use my ATG gun because I really want this to stick down. And this cardstock is pretty heavy. So this is some textured cardstock, and it's actually not the Joann's brand. This is some of the one of my strips came off. This is actually some of the I believe Michael's. Move that one up just a little bit higher than the other ones. So let me make sure I got that on there. Okay. So now we're just going to put this and lay it down right here. And I also should put tape on the back of the strips. But what I'm going to do, because this is paper, I have this glue here that's has a fine tip on it. I'm just going to run some of this across here. And it is very wet glue. And you only need just a little bit of it. So I should have put tape across there, and I didn't think about that until after I laid it down. And I don't want to try to pull that back up. So bear with me here while I get this on here. And then we can add our flowers. And as you can see, it really comes out thin, but it comes out fast, and that's because I had it sitting upside down. So I'm going to need to just wipe this just a little bit here to get that off of there. Thank goodness it dries clear. Okay, so now we will add our flowers, and I did use the Three Birds Quill Ease tool. Oops. It looks like this to do my quilling for my flowers. Now you don't have to use, if you don't have this, you can use, as I said, a regular quilling tool that has the tip, or you can try quilling it just by using a wooden dowel. It's up to you how you do it. And I am going to do a product review on that tool coming up in a future video. I'm just now practicing with it, and at first using it I was going to give it a D, but I am going to change my D probably to maybe a C, because I think that using this was a lot easier. I only bought this tool because I'm starting to develop arthritis in my right hand, and I wanted something that would quill the paper pretty fast, and so that's why I bought it. So right now, like I said, I was giving it a D in the beginning. I might give it a C minus or a C once I practice it some more. So you'll see when I do the product review. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add my flowers and some more embellishments, and I'm going to come back with the finished card and the envelope. Okay everybody, so I am back with the finished card, and here it is. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. So what I've done is I've gone and put our little vase down here like we had before, and then I took my quilled flowers and glued them onto the card, And then I took some of the bling leaves that I have and added those, as you can see here. And then I went ahead and put pearls along here, along the beaded, I believe it's called beaded, let me see here, beaded ovals die. I forgot the name there for a minute. So I put a pearl on each one of the little edges here. And then I went ahead and on the smaller beaded oval die, I added some bling. I got to put a bling on this one, and just every other one of the edge. And so for my envelope, I just went ahead and made an envelope using my We Are Memory Keeper punch board. And I went ahead and stamped out some more flowers and a little sentiment on the front of the envelope. So that's it, everybody. This is my remix card using Spellbinder dies. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.